Welcome, everybody, to Warp Factor Fiction, an all new episode where we're talking about Discovery Season 2, the back half season, episodes 8 through 14. That's right. Go check out the first episode where we talk about episodes 1 through 7. Now, let's talk about the back half of Season 2 and see what happens to the Discovery crew and the Enterprise crew as we go on. All right. So I had a lot of fun with this season. The second time watch, I watched it the first time it came out. This time around, I seem to enjoy it more. I kind of let loose a little bit more. I think the first time I watched it, I was like, it was a little too different from what Trek was for me, but I liked it. So I got excited, and I was glad to watch it with you, Tommy. Mm-hmm. So before we get started, guys, I'm Mick Manhattan, your host, of course, on this Trek journey where we are rewatching in chronological order everything Trek. Like I said, we're on Star Trek Discovery Season 2. Next month, we'll be moving on to Strange New World Season 1, and so on and so forth. Joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Ensign Tommy Manhattan. Thank you for coming back, man.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, you bring great insight, especially that last episode. You had your lesson learned from that episode was fantastic, and I applaud you on it, man. I appreciate it. So I want to get into this, but before we do, we talked about in the last episode kind of how you marry the two, like when you watched Enterprise versus watching this and the technological differences and stuff like that. Now I want to get into talking about Trek overall for you. How is the tone for you? Because now these are two very different shows, one in the early 2000s, one in 18 and on, and it's a different world than it was back then. So I would love to see through your eyes of having watched those two shows what it's like. What is Star Trek like in your eyes now?
I think they're trying to be more with like the times. I think the times are different than the early 2000s with Enterprise, so it's going to have a different theme. Also, I believe it's under new management since 2004.
Oh, so, yeah, absolutely.
So they would also have a little bit of darker, but I think the storyline has been better than Enterprise. Like, I liked Enterprise, but I do like the storyline in Discovery more than Enterprise.
I dig it. I like that a lot. All right. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. And for me, I really like kind of where it's going. But I still like that it fits. I talked about this in the last episode. I still like that everything sort of fits because overall, Star Trek has these principles that it lives by. Gene Roddenberry set forth, and the people who were with him along with this franchise kept intact. And we saw that a lot. Like, we saw it kind of veer away a little bit with some of these new shows, but we saw it kind of get back into it. Especially, I've never seen Discovery Season 3 on. So I'm very excited to, even though I have to watch it a year or two from now to be in chronological order with everything.
Probably more than a year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long it takes us to get there. But I am excited to figure out what's what and where we're going. But let's get into it, shall we, buddy? Let's start with episode 8. Episode 8 is If Memory Serves. So previously, what was happening on the show is the Enterprise visited the planet Talos, where Pike and Spock met the Talesians, beings that can create incredible illusions. Pike fell in love with Vina, an injured Federation crewman in the Talosans' care, but she was unable to leave the planet due to the Talosans' abilities to keep her alive. Pike chose to return to the Enterprise, and Starfleet banned future visits to Talos 4. Okay. So you guys may be wondering, like, well, previously on what? Was that in Discovery? No, it was not in Discovery. That was on the original series. That was the pilot for the original Star Trek television show when it was going to be under Christopher Pike, played by Jeffrey Hunter, who was also in like movies like The Searchers and a bunch of others. But when he passed on, Captain Kirk was now written in and William Shatner took over. But Pike was not written out of the show. He was still kept in there. They still paid homage to him and things like that, his character and the actor. But now that we have a Pike in the series, they have to play up what happens to him and his ultimate demise. Now, I'll leave that for when we get to Star Trek, the original series. But that whole previously is from the original series. Mm-hmm. That all happened in there. That was not Anson Mount. But I will do that. I will say this. Talos 4, they did a really good job connecting the look, the feel, the vibe, the sounds that you got in the original series. in this new one, but updating it just in such a right way that this works for Discovery. Now, if memory serves, the main premise is in the present, Burnham and Spock secretly travel to Talos 4, where the Talesians heal Spock's mind in exchange for Burnham's memories of emotionally scarring Spock, which they are interested in observing. Spock reveals that he mind melded with the Red Angel, a time traveler trying to avert a galactic catastrophe in the future. Aren't they all? Stamets attempts to reconnect with Culber, who's going through an identity crisis since his resurrection. Culber confronts Tyler, but realizes that the latter is going through a similar crisis. Discovery collects Spock and Burnham, and they escape while Section 31 is distracted by the illusions created by the Talesians. So this is one of my favorite episodes of the season. I love the strong connection to the original series and kind of how that all plays out. But what did you think about this episode, especially considering you don't know Talos 4 and you don't know Captain Pike's fate?
I liked it. It wasn't my favorite. It was top 5 though. It was top 5, but it was not top 3.
Okay, so we got a 4 and 5 there, because you said that about another episode. So we got your 4 and 5. So we need to get to your top 3. I'm excited though to see kind of where it goes. But yeah, I agree with you though. I think it was a good one. This kind of reminded me of the first season episode. I can't remember the name of the episode, but where Sarek is hurt and she is mind melded with him, so she has to try and find him by using her memories.
Oh yeah, that one.
It kind of just it felt similar in tone, and like to see the connection between her and Spock. So, who's your highlight character in this episode?
Spock.
Wow. Okay.
It's either
I was
Spock
going to
or
say
Burnham.
Burnham. I would say Burnham for me personally. All right. Episode 9, Project Daedalus. Starfleet Admiral Katrina Cornwell secretly boards Discovery to interrogate Spock and brings video footage depicting Spock murdering 3 doctors. Saru discovers that Section 31 faked the footage using holograms, and Cornwell directs Discovery to Section 31 headquarters, where Starfleet's control artificial intelligence is kept. Control is behind the forgery and has been directing Section 31 to pursue Spock. Burnham, Security Officer Nan, and Ariam beam to the headquarters to find the personnel, including Section 31's leadership, dead after Control turned off life support systems. Ariam is tasked with restoring control to Starfleet's intended purpose, but the virus from the future she carries is actually Control itself, and instead attempts to upload the sphere's knowledge of all artificial intelligence into Control's database. Ariam asks to be ejected into space before Control gains the knowledge it wishes. Burnham hesitates, but Commander Nan jettisons Ariam before it is too late. Ariam dies, reliving her favorite memory before she was technologically augmented. This was a sad episode. This was a crazy episode. Very horror-centric is what I was. It's very zombie feel. What did you think?
I liked it. It was again kind of one of those middle episodes. It was like 7, 8, maybe 9 at lowest. It was a good episode.
What did you think of Ariam's death at the end?
It was very important, as if Ariam hadn't died, I don't think they would have found who the Red Angel was or any of that. Like, the whole storyline would get messed up if Ariam didn't die and tell them that stuff.
I agree. Good point on that one. So who's your highlight character in this one?
Burnham or Ariam?
I'm going to give it to Ariam.
Probably Burnham.
I'll give it to Ariam. I mean, she sacrificed herself for everything. But I definitely agree with you. All right, 4 episodes left. Let's get to it. The Red Angel, episode 10. While preparing for Ariam's funeral, her system is purged of the control virus along with all the control systems around Starfleet. While doing this, Tilly discovers a bioneural scan of the Red Angel and Ariam's code that matches Burnham. Leland reveals that Section 31 built the Red Angel time travel suit 20 years ago in a temporal arms race. Oh, we've heard that one. With the Klingons, and that Burnham's biological parents have been part of that program. Leland's carelessness at the time led to their deaths. The crew now plan to use Burnham as bait for the Red Angel. Discovery travels to SF4. Everything's a 4. Where there is enough energy to power their trap. Burnham is left out of the planet's unbreathable atmosphere until the Red Angel appears. Leland's Section 31 ship can close the wormhole behind the Red Angel to stop the future version of Control from following her through. Though Leland is attacked by the present-day version of Control, which is still active within his ship, the Red Angel is caught in the trap and revives momentarily dead Burnham, who recognizes the figure as her mother. It's a big deal. It's a lot, man. That's a lot. And especially bringing back Burnham's mother. We've thought for a long time she's dealing a lot with family this season. This is a good episode. Leland's very good in this episode. Everybody's really good in this episode. But what did you think of this?
I liked it. It was good. It was good. I don't really have a spot for it yet, but yes, it was really good.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt that just says "I liked it." That's your catchphrase. I liked it. I love it. We're just gonna do pudding commercials. Hey, what do you think of this pudding, Tom? I liked it. It's just empty. You just finished it real quick. That's gonna be our next. That's our next sponsor, Star Trek Jello. Live long and sweet taste. So anyway, let's get back. So I did like this episode. I thought they did a good job. They're finally setting up. They're gearing up for the end. You can see it ramping. I always enjoy when seasons start doing that ramp. I do wish they went there a little bit earlier, but whatever. They set it up. So for you, who's your highlight character? And yeah, is this in your top 5 or no?
No, I think it's number 6. Just 6? Outside.
I would really love for you to put together a list because you keep that thing tight. You keep that list of like what's what. So, who's your highlight character in this? Did you say?
Burnham.
Burnham. Yeah, it's a good one. I'd probably go with Burnham too. Either Burnham or
older Burnham.
Or older Burnham. That's true. But Burnham is good. Yeah, Burnham all around. We'll just do Burnham's all around. Burnham squared. So we'll go that route. All right, let's get into the next episode, shall we? All right, episode 11, Perpetual Infinity. When the Burnham's laboratory was attacked by Klingon years ago, Michael's mother donned the experimental time travel suit to go back in time an hour and warn them of the coming attack. She instead arrived 950 years in the future to find an all sentient life destroyed by control, tethering herself to a nearby planet. Dr. Burnham made over 840 attempts to change the future, including moving humans to her new planet, Terralicium, to test how she can change history, trying to stop control from gaining the Spear's data. Dr. Burnham was responsible for directing the Spear to cross paths with the Discovery. Now the Discovery crew plans to upload the Spear data into the suit and send it to the future where Control cannot access it while keeping Dr. Burnham in the present. But a Control-possessed Leland intercepts their upload. I know, this is where it gets crazy. Giorgio and Tyler confront Leland, and Tyler, gravely injured but able to warn Discovery. The crew is forced to cut the transmission short and release Dr. Burnham back to the future. But the suit is now damaged. Control Leland escapes with half of the Sphere data. I like this episode. It's very chaotic, very crazy. We got a really good connection between Michael and her mother. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it because it didn't play out exactly as I think you would expect it to, because her experience too, because even like Dr. Burnham's experience in it and what she had to go through for all those years and all those attempts to get back, but also to save humanity 950 years in the future. You know, I really dug like kind of where they went with it. So what did you think of this episode?
It was actually, I liked it. It was not one of my favorites though. I think it was again kind of mid to low, maybe. Only because there are so many good episodes in the season. It's hard for me to I can't put everything on the higher tier.
I get it. Listen, no arguments from me, my friend. I completely understand. So don't feel bad for having it be any certain way. All right? I don't feel bad. You're all good.
And a fun fact.
Yeah, what's up?
And a fun fact about this episode is that in it, Michael's mother is played by Sonequa Martin Green's husband. Or not mother, father. Her father is played by Sonequa Martin Green's husband.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Kenrick Green.
Oh, that's cool. See, you went all in. You got your trivia down and stuff. That's awesome. I didn't even know that one. That's pretty cool, though. All right, let's go on to the who's your highlight character?
Burnham again.
Burnham, yeah, it's gonna be Burnham for sure. This back half, she just kills it. So, all right, let's go to episode 12. Through the Valley of Shadows, a new signal appears over Borth, a planet which is sacred to Klingons and has a monastery where Klingon monks guard time crystals. These are the same monks that Tyler and Laurel left their son to be raised by. Pike visits the monastery to retrieve a time crystal and finds their son is now fully grown adult named Tenavik. Tenavik explains that life on Borith is affected by the crystals, and that if Pike takes one, he will not be able to change the future that it shows to him. Pike sees a future where he is severely disabled in an accident, but chose to take the crystal anyway to serve the greater good. Meanwhile, Burnham and Spock investigate Section 31 ship that checked in 10 minutes later than usual and find all the crew dead except for one. Cameron Gant, an old colleague of Burnham's who has been possessed by control in an attempt to transfer control to Burnham's body. Spock is able to stop control with magnetism, and they escape back to Discovery. Section 31 fleet soon arrives, forcing Pike to order Discovery be destroyed to keep the spear data away from control. That is a huge deal. That's like Starfleet's answer until a captain steps in and is like, no, you're doing the wrong thing again. What's going on here? It seems like that's a theme that happens in Starfleet quite a bit.
It's like the government.
There you go.
Something I don't get about this episode is like when they beamed on to the ship, Burnham and Spock and them, it seems surprised that like Control could tell that they were there, even when they didn't know that Cameron Gant was it, because if they have full control of the ship, sensors would detect that 3 people beamed aboard, so of course Control would know. Why are they surprised? Any ship sensors would detect them.
I have no answer for you on that. I have absolutely no answer for that, and just that it's a good observation. Let's find one of the writers and see if we can ask them. It's like, what'd you screw up? Huh? What's wrong with you? What'd you do? Why are you messing around? No, I'm just kidding, of course. It's all up there. It all does it. This episode was good. I really like the Pike stuff.
Yes, the Pike stuff was good.
He's my highlight character of this episode.
I
think he did great, because especially if you know his fate and where he's going, and the fact that he still chooses. I'm so anxious to see what happens in Strange New Worlds, to know that there's a Pike out there who knows what's going to happen to him. Mm-hmm. And yet he still serves. He's still doing what he has to do. Every decision he's making is leading him to that future, to that path. And yet he still is in it to win it. He's ready to go.
Wait, so does this mean that Discovery's in a mirror universe? Like not a mirror universe, but like something different? Because if it's in the Prime universe,
it's in the normal universe.
Okay.
But we get to why they're not in the normal universe
anymore.
Database soon. So let's get to the last episodes. Finish up. All right. Episodes 13 and 14. This is a part 1 and a part 2, so I'm going to read them both, and then we will go from there. Part 1, Discovery escapes the rendezvous with Enterprise. The Discovery crew is evacuated onto the other starship, and they initiate Discovery's self-destruct sequence, but the sphere data takes control of Discovery's systems and prevents this from happening. It also defends itself from torpedoes. Burnham proposes that the time crystal is used to take Discovery itself to the future, where Control cannot get to it. The plans to wear a copy of her mother's suit led the ship plans to wear a copy of the suit. I knew that, but I'm reading my notes. Pike agrees and resumes command of the Enterprise to keep Control distracted. The new signal appears, leading Discovery and Enterprise to planet Zahia. There you go. Which is ruled by Tilly's friend, Queen May Hani Holly Ka Po.
Just say Poe.
Poe. A brilliant engineer. I did like her character, though. Poe helps Stamets, Tilly, and Reno prepare the suits for time crystals. Anybody listening to this podcast or watching this podcast is like, dude, come on. And time crystal for the journey. Some of the Discovery's crew choose to stay with Burnham, as does Georgiou, while Pike makes Saru acting captain. As Section 31 fleet arrives, Discovery and Enterprise prepare for a battle while the suit and time crystal are finalized. Part 2, this is the season finale of season 2. Tyler retrieves the Klingon fleet to assist in the battle, while Saru's sister, Sarana, arrives with the Ba'ul fighters and receiving a farewell message from Saru. Stamets is seriously injured and is cared for by Culber. A Section 31 torpedo penetrates the Enterprise without detonating, and Cornwell seals off the surrounding area, which prevents further damage from a secondary detonation and kills her. Control Leland boards Discovery and is defeated when Georgiou magnetizes the nanites in his body, allowing Section 31's fleet to be destroyed. In the suit, Burnham travels to the past and sets 5 signals that led them to this point. She then sets a 6th for Discovery to follow as she travels forward over 900 years and promises to set a 7th when they arrive. The Enterprise crew tells Starfleet that Discovery was destroyed in the battle and are ordered to never speak of the crew again, on Spock's recommendation to prevent another incident like Control. Tyler is placed in command of Section 31. Months later, Enterprise detects the 7th signal as it begins a new adventure. That is the season finale of Discovery Season 2. That's a lot. That's 2 episodes. Big battle comes up, going up against Control. It's a hell of an end. These are 2 of my favorite episodes of the season. My highlight character for this, if it's not Burnham, it's Pike. I'm still deciding. But let me hear what you thought of these 2 episodes and like this finale that kind of led you in and where Discovery ends up.
It was good, but what I don't get about the episode is once Leland got aboard Discovery, there was no point on traveling to the future because the sphere data would just get taken by Control again in the future.
Not if Control doesn't exist in the future. If they changed it and Control never got the sphere data and never grew and Control was defeated, then it never made it 900 years to the future. So they're just going to a different future now.
That's true. And then, like, after Georgiou destroyed Control, why travel to the future now? Control's gone.
Because you had to send the sphere, because they realized the sphere's knowledge, all that data, they had to get it out. And the only way they could really go was like 900 years in the future with the suit. They knew that. So they knew they had to get Discovery gone. It could not remain in this timeline with all of that. Control may still be a threat, but it can never get that data. And we know that it's once it gets that data that it's controlling the future. So if you take it out, it's never going to get that data. So then it changes everything.
Right.
So I really like how they played this off. It's a different type of time travel, but I liked it. Still fits within the Star Trek suspension of disbelief realm, physics of how it all works.
Wait, so it's Section 31, 20 years before Discovery took place. If time travel was available, and they've succeeded, how in like Picard days can they still really not time travel?
They can. They still time travel. It's different though, because that 20 years ago when Section 31 was messing with time travel, after it blew up in their faces, they stopped messing with time travel.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a lesson learned. We're not doing this anymore. And it's shut down because it's too much of a risk.
Mm-hmm.
So there was still time travel out there in Burnham's mother, but they're still just like disconnected from it. They're not doing it anymore. So when you get but there are other natural events within the Star Trek world where you can travel through time, like temporal events and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and with the first one, I didn't find this one. This is something that I found off like the internet, but it was that they said that the mitochondrial RNA matches the mother, but you don't get that from a mother. You get the mitochondrial DNA, not the RNA. There's 2 different things.
Let's go beat up the writers.
So that's a goof.
No, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I don't know if there's something that has been established within the Star Trek world that says differently. So I don't want to speak to that. I guess we'll find out through our watching, but I doubt it. And you're probably right. So regardless, that was a good, fun little trivia thing that you looked up and went with. So I give you credit on that. On top of that, I just want to say, what'd you think of this episodes? And also, who are your highlight characters?
So for these 2, the highlight character was Burnham.
Mm-hmm.
I like the episodes a lot. This was probably my favorite. I have this at number 1. I have the 2 episodes together at number 1.
Makes sense. It's 2-part or so. Who is okay? So what's a lesson that you learned from this second half of the season?
Nothing lasts forever, because Burnham lost her mom. Then she found her again, but then she lost her again. So nothing lasts forever.
Nothing lasts forever. That's a good point.
And Saru lost his sister, found her again, then lost her again.
That's true, but the crew still remains the same, right? So that's always a good thing. I like the season. That's true. All right, touche. You had to bring that one in there. So you had to bring us down one more time. I did really like the season. second time around for me. I'm looking forward to getting to the third, fourth, fifth season. I hear it really picks up to a different place, and I want to see where that goes. I don't know what to expect from Strange New Worlds. I haven't watched the first season. I haven't watched the second season, so I can't wait to watch it with you. Are you excitedly going into, especially now that you've met a lot of the Enterprise crew from that show, and you're going into it? Are you excited to get into that next season?
Yeah, yes, actually. Very excited. I think it's going to be really good.
I am too. I
can't wait for it.
I like this crew. I like that we're getting the Enterprise again. I like that we're getting familiar characters with some awesome faces.
I can't wait for the musical episode in season 2 of Strange New Worlds.
I heard they had one. So we will know that by October. We'll be talking about that one by October. So I'm interested to see what you feel about your first musical episode of a TV series. So I'm definitely excited for this, though. Thank you so much, Ensign Tommy, for jumping in and being a part of it.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, I really appreciate you guys coming out, listening, watching. This is Star Trek Rewatch Podcast. We're doing it in chronological order. We call it Warp Factor Fiction. Thank you, guys. We truly appreciate you. This is a Patreon exclusive series. First month, that's where you can go and you can find it. Plus, there's other little extras and specials and stuff like that we put up only on Patreon. So make sure to go check us out there. All the links are down below. You can follow us on social media. You can listen to this podcast wherever on any podcast platform it's available. You can watch it on YouTube. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you know when the next few episodes are going to be coming out, and you also know when other great shows are coming out as well. If you are listening to the podcast, please make sure to hit follow. Please make sure to hit like and rate and review us. Helps us go a long way. Thank you again. Tommy, you want to say anything before we get going?
Live long and prosper.
That's right. That's how we finish off the show. Live long and prosper, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. Stay groovy. And I will talk to you very soon. Thank you again, Ensign Tommy. Thank you all again. Take care.
See you all next month.
Very good. Very good.